Hey there, this is Erica from Highland Hickory Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this beautiful Cozy Corners Afghan. Now this pattern was inspired by the Snowy Sky Shawl, and that video of mine has 3 million views, so if you're interested in seeing that one, I'll link it in the description box below. But essentially with this blanket, it is a corner to corner pattern, but instead of the blocks, you have these beautiful shells that will be your blocks. So in today's pattern, we're going to use Caron cotton cakes and a 5.75 millimeter crochet hook, and everything I use today will also be listed in the description box below. For this pattern, you can use any size yarn that you prefer. It can be chunky, it can be thinner. I would just recommend whatever size hook is listed on the yarn packaging. Maybe go up a size or 2 on your hook, because if you use the size recommended, like this is a size 4 medium weight yarn, and you could get away with an H hook, a 5 millimeter, but it makes the final product tend to curl a little bit, so it's better to go up a size or 2, maybe make a swatch to see what size hook you need to keep it from curling. Okay, so I think that's everything. Let's get started. Okay, so to begin, you need to make your typical slip knot. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is going to count as a double crochet, these 3 chains right here, and you're going to be working into this very bottom chain to make our first shell. So in this very bottom chain, we're going to work 5 double crochets. And if at any time I'm going too fast or too slow for you, you can adjust the settings on your video to speed it up or slow it down to your liking. Four, 5. Okay. So for row 1, you're going to have a total of 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one counts as 6. For row 2, chain 1, turn your work. In this row, we're just going to single crochet in every stitch across for 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th one will go in the chain 3, the top of the chain 3. 6. So there is our first shell. And since this is corner to corner, we're starting at one corner and we're going to fan out and work our way upward. So now for row 3, we're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet. Turn your work, and in this first stitch, we're going to work 5 double crochets just like we did down here to create a fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we have 6 total double crochets. So now we're going to skip 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to work the last fan into this chain 1 turning chain over here. So 6 double crochets in this last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now Each row is going to increase by 1 shell. So row 1 will have 1 shell, row 2 will have 2, row 3 will have 3, and so on until we get to the main corners, and then we'll begin to decrease. So for row 4, we're going to do a row of single crochets across the top. So chain 1, turn your work, and then just 1 single crochet in every stitch across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then the last one will go in the top of this chain 3 turning chain. 12. Okay, so this is the back side, and this is the front side. And you see how they start to curl a little bit? That's why you need to have a larger hook so you're not crocheting so tightly. But it will lay flat once you get finished. Okay, let's do one more row. If you need to jump ahead to any other parts of the video, the timestamps will be in the description box below, so you don't have to wait around on me, and I'll try to speed up some parts later too, so you're not waiting. Okay, so chain 3, and we're going to work a fan here, a fan in the center, and then a fan on the end. So 5 double crochets plus the chain 3, which counts as a double crochet for 6 total. Okay, how many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're good. So now we skip 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we work into this one. And once you get going, you'll realize that it's the one that's directly above the opening here, and you won't have to keep counting them. So 6 double crochets in this stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and work into this chain 1 at the end, 6 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more, 6. Okay. And I'll show you one more time how to do the single crochet row. So chain 1, turn your work, and just single crochet across. And you'll know the exact amount of stitches from the previous row will be the same amount for single crochets up on top of it. So this is the back side. This is the front. So if you continued on like this, you could make a triangle shawl and just stop when it's as big as you want it. But for a blanket, we need to make this into a rectangle. So if you were to continue this row has 3 shells. Your next row would have 4, so there'd be 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. But for the sake of time, we're just going to stop here. I'm sure you get the idea by now. Now we're going to work on the decreases. So we want this to come to a point to make our rectangle. Now this doesn't come out to a square because these aren't squares and they're wider at the top, so that makes this more into a rectangle blanket. So for decreasing, we want to chain 3. We're not going to put a shell here on the end. We're going to start our shells over here. This is going to be our corner. And to keep yourself from getting confused, I recommend putting a stitch marker here and a stitch marker here to mark your corners so that you know that you don't want to go any wider, no more shells on the ends. Your first shell is going to go right above this hole here. We're going to skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll work 6 double crochets in this stitch. Four, 5, 6. Okay, see, we've created our corner down here. So we'll skip 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to work another shell into this stitch here. Okay, so since we are not increasing on either side anymore because we're trying to create corners, we're just going to double crochet, which will create a line right into this last stitch. Oops. Double crochet. And it brings you out right where you want to be, right over here. So we're not going to crochet anything on this side. This is our new corner. So turn your work, and now we do the row of single crochets across. We're going to do single crochets in each of these shells, but not in the chain 3. This is our edge here. We don't want to go down this way because our corner is right there. So single crochet, into the last stitch. We're going to stop, turn our work. So we want to carry on this line, so we're going to chain 3 again. No shell on the ends, just a shell in the center. So we'll skip 5 stitches and work our shell. And 6. Okay, and since this is our other corner, we just want to continue the line to the end of this shell and nothing else. So we'll double crochet in this last stitch. To continue our line. First we have to do the single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we want our actual corner. We don't want to leave this rounded. So what we're going to do is chain 3. I'm sorry if you hear my dogs in the background. So that will create this line here. And then to go this way, double crochet into this last stitch. Okay, so now we have our rectangle. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do a row of single crochets around the entire project, and that will give us more definitive stitches to work into. So in theory, we know that a double crochet is the same size as 3 chains, and you would put 3 stitches in 3 chains. So for a double crochet, you want to at least have 3 single crochets across to make it even. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then you need 1 for the row of single crochets. So it'd be a total of 4 stitches per shell for each of these across to kind of keep it even for you. There's no exact science for this, just do the best you can. Four. Okay, so once you reach the corner, you need to have a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, all in the same stitch. So now we're going to work along this edge, and once we get to the corner, it'll be single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and so on until you get back to the first stitch. And I'll speed this through just so you don't have to wait around for that. Okay, so we have our last chain 2 for the corner, and we're going to turn and slip stitch into the first stitch we made of that round to finish off. So now we have more definitive stitches around, and this will be much easier to work into. So for round 2 of the border, we're going to just do another round of single crochets, just like we did before, with single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in every corner. So I'll go ahead and skip ahead to show you that finished product. Feel free to pause the video if you are trying to work along with me and you want to keep up. Okay, so we're back at the last corner, or the first corner from when we started. So you would work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the chain 2 space from the previous row. Now this stitch is 1 stitch over, so we're going to put in an extra single crochet here, and then slip stitch into this first stitch to finish off round 2 of our blanket project. Okay, so we're done with the rows of single crochet. Now we're going to get it a little more complicated, but not too much. Don't get scared. So we're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and in this third stitch, work 5 double crochets. It's going to be a smaller version of the shell. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we will skip 2 stitches and work a double crochet, and you're going to repeat that the whole way across. Double crochet, skip 2 stitches, shell, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, skip 2 stitches, shell. And this is where you're going to have to fudge the border a little bit, because your stitches won't always come out exact where you have the perfect amount to get to the corner. Ideally, for the pattern, you would want a double crochet and then the corner stitches. But as you can see, we only have 2 stitches left and then the corner. So in the corner, we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. It really doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as it's even and doesn't look too scrunched up and tight or too loose. So in this corner stitch, we're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all in the same stitch. 2, 3. Okay, so that is our corner. To start off, we'll just start over. We'll skip 2 stitches and then we'll do a double crochet. Skip 2 stitches, another shell. Let's see what we come up with on the next corner. Five, skip 2 stitches, double crochet, skip 2 stitches. Now it looks like we're going to have the same thing we had last time. Another shell. At least we're consistent. 3, 4, 5, and in the chain 2 space, 3 double crochets and a chain 2, and another 3 double crochets, chain 2, two, 3. Okay. So that's our next corner. Let's try this again. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, so I guess for this tiny swatch, we're just going to have the shells right up against the corner. But when I did the larger blanket, I did end up with just the single double crochets, the single stitch, right up against the corner. And it really doesn't matter. It's not going to affect the overall finished product. Here's our corner. And I'll go ahead and skip to the end of this so you don't have to finish watching. Okay, so now we are back at the first corner before we started. And in the corner, we will work 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and since this is a double crochet, we want to slip stitch in the top of it, this top chain here, to finish off our row. Okay, so here is row 3 of our border. It's starting to look very pretty with the shells. and your larger blanket will not pucker this bad. It's just because this is small. For the 4th row of our border, the 4th and 5th row, we're just going to do rows of single crochet the whole way around. In the corner stitches, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to when those are finished, so you don't have to sit here and watch me single crochet around, and then we'll do the final row, which is a slightly different, but not by much. So I'll see you in just a second. Okay, there we are. 2 rows of single crochet are done. And I also forgot to mention that after every row for the border, just for the border, you don't have to turn your work. You can just keep working around and around until you're finished. For the last row, it's going to be mini shells. So you will chain 1. In the next stitch, you'll work 3 single crochets in the same stitch to create a miniature shell. Skip 2 stitches and then work another mini shell. 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And this just puts a nice little scalloped edge on your blanket. Subtle, nothing too major. 3, skip 2 stitches. And again, this is something that you'll have to fudge when you get to the corners, because you never know how many stitches you're going to have left. For instance, we have 1 stitch here, so it could be 1 stitch or 2 stitch, but I would not skip 3 stitches. It would make your blanket start to pucker, so at least 1 or 2 would be what you would skip. And in the corner chain 2 space, you would work 4 single crochets, all in that same space to get around the corner. 2, 3, 4, and then you would start the repeat again where you skip 2 stitches. You know what, we're going to skip this one because we don't want to go too far. This one and this one, and work 3 single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to skip around and show you the finished product. You don't have to sit here and wait. Okay, and that is it. That is the entire border, the entire blanket. If you are interested in learning how to do traditional corner-to-corner crochet or tapestry crochet, I have free courses on YouTube. The links will be in the description box below if you're interested in that. Step by step, every step you could imagine, broken down into simple, easy videos to watch. For the sample project, I used a self-striping yarn and made beautiful stripes. I'm going to insert some extra photos at the end here so you can see the finished blanket. And this was such a fun pattern. I really hope that you get a chance to try it. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a long one. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps my channel. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.